Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888, and today we have another gun gripe video for you. And I'm almost thinking of changing the name of gun gripes to California gripes, because it seems like every single gun gripe, if not all of them, always has to do with some crap out in California. You know, gun gripes is one of those things that we put out there to try to talk about some of the things that are going on in the 2A community that are negative, that, something we might require action on, where we can kind of, herd everybody together and help enact some change on a given subject, or at least put knowledge out there about a given subject, or at least open a dialogue about what's going on.
Public service announcement.
Public service announcement. But it's one of those things, Governor Brown out there in California, man, he is really making it tough to want to live in California as a gun owner. I mean, it's just, the problem is he just signed in a humongous docket of random gun laws that are just really, really crappy. Remember the previous video we talked about, Gunmageddon, or all of this Gunpocalypse talk of all these random bills and things and all these measures that they've been trying to put forth. So basically he signed some of them and he vetoed some of them. I've got my phone right here propped up. It's kind of a little cheat sheet here.
I'm on the iPad.
Yeah, I know. I need to get some bigger device. We need to get a teleprompter to go off like the real news people. You're right. Probably not. But the thing is, it's really crummy, okay? It's a really bad time to be in California as a citizen of California and as a gun owner. It's a tough thing to be in for. So there are some bills that were passed, and you might want to go over to the NRA ILA. I'm actually reading all of this information off the ILA website so I can make sure I'm giving you guys exactly the skinny of what's going on. So we'll go down the list here. Assembly Bill 1135 and Senate Bill 880 made a couple of changes to their firearms laws in regards to semi-auto guns that they call assault weapons. So basically, it outlaws any magazine that holds more than 10 shots. They're saying has to be basically turned in. Okay, and the whole bullet button thing, they deem that to be a loophole, which of course is bull crap. But now they're saying that if the gun has a bullet button, they're not even allowing that, because it still allows for the rapid change of a magazine. So it's a bunch of bull crap.
Yeah, basically it says both those assembly bills, let's see, the Assembly Bill 1135 and Senate Bill 880 would make changes of monumental scale to California's firearm laws by reclassifying hundreds of thousands of legally owned semi-automatic rifles as assault weapons, quote unquote. This legislation effectively outlaws magazine locking devices, bullet buttons. So if you got a rifle with a bullet button, now it's completely illegal. It's reclassified as an assault weapon, which is what the bullet button got around, because they basically banned guns that had a detachable magazine. Okay, so
it's just a backdoor way of banning something.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And yeah, so I mean, if you got a rifle with a bullet button now, it's banned. I mean, it's done. Okay. So,
all right,
yay.
Assembly Bill 1511. So basically what this deals with, now they're saying that if you loan a gun to somebody other than a family member, immediate family member, they want you to have to go and do a background check and all of this bull crap, which of course is still subject to the same requirements as any other background check. So it means that if a friend of yours wants to go hunting and borrow your hunting rifle or something like that, or whatever, any reason that somebody would need to borrow a rifle, you have to go through the same process as if you wanted to sell them the gun, which is total crap. I would imagine also that when that said gun comes back to you, you have to do a freaking background check just to get your own dang gun back.
That reminds me of the crap that happened in Washington State a little while back, where, if you wanted to loan a gun to somebody, you had to go to an FFL holder and actually transfer it to them. They had to transfer it to the other individual, and it was only on a temporary basis, and then you had to go back and transfer it back again, because they wanted to track where those guns were going.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. They wanted to track that.
That's none of their business.
Here's what Jerry Brown said. My goal in signing these bills is to enhance public safety by tightening our existing laws in a responsible and focused manner, while protecting the rights of law-abiding gun owners. Protecting gun owners' rights? You're trampling all over them, Mr. Brown.
Exactly.
I mean,
all right, so despite the laws that were actually signed in, some of them were vetoed. Assembly Bill 1673, this is a bill that would have expanded the definition of firearm to include an unfinished frame or receiver, basically a strip receiver, essentially an AR.
80%,
Okay, an 80%,
80%.
a stripped receiver. Basically, to kind of redefine that, depending on how this vague terminology is interpreted, 1673 could essentially treat pieces of metal as firearms, subjecting them to California's exhaustive regulations and restrictions currently applicable to firearms. So basically just more crap. I don't guess he saw the sense in it, or maybe he was just too dumb to understand exactly what it dealt with, so he vetoed it by default because he's not knowledgeable enough to know what that deals with anyway. So that's probably what happened. All right. Assembly Bill 1674 says would expand the existing one handgun a month law to include all guns, including those acquired through a private party transfer. So he vetoed that measure, which means that you would have had to, like, say you want to buy a hunting rifle and a sidearm to take hunting or something. You have to buy them 2 months apart. You can only buy literally one gun a month. That would have been a problem. And the fact that they're even going after it is a problem because that interferes with interstate commerce, which is not good. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to interfere with commerce or interstate commerce. It's bullcrap.
Yeah, I mean, basically telling law-abiding gun owners that you can only buy one firearm a month because you are inherently dangerous to society, and we want to keep as many of these guns off the streets as humanly possible. Well, guess what? All right, so
Criminals don't obey the law.
exactly. So you are limiting law-abiding people, law-abiding citizens of your state to one firearm purchase per month. Okay, so if say
Georgia.
All right, say something happens or whatever, and you know a person has a break-in or whatever, and they want to go and buy a rifle and a shotgun and a pistol, you know, to help defend their homes. Okay, well, you're just making that much harder in California for law-abiding people to defend their homes, their families, by enacting these draconian laws.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so, okay, well, this month I'm going to get a handgun because that's the best that I can do right now because I'm going to abide by the law and I'm going to buy my one gun, and then next month I'll buy my shotgun. And then the next month I'll buy my rifle.
Nobody should have to do that.
I mean, give me a break.
Nobody should have to do that because don't think for 1 second that all of their goons aren't armed with the latest and greatest and whatever the heck they want to have, but you little peon nobody, you know, serf, slave, nobody that doesn't matter to them and whose safety is completely irrelevant to the laws in question. No, you can't defend yourself. The problem is people like these states, like California, they want a monopoly on violence. They want to own violence because they feel that you being able to defend yourself, one, is offensive to their position, or at least can kind of step on their position as not only law enforcement or whatever they're going to do, but it's almost like they want to own violence. Like they want to be the only people capable of dealing violence to anybody. But guess what? The world's a crummy place sometimes. And you can't take a law-abiding citizen's means to defend themselves away. That's a human rights thing. If all the people around you are armed and have guns, why should they be subject to these crappy laws? So what, are law enforcement officers going to turn in all their 30-round mags now? You better believe they're not going to. So, all right, here's another one that was signed, and this one really kind of surprises me. This is Assembly Bill 1695. So basically they're saying that you won't be able to buy a gun for 10 years if a firearm gets stolen and you fail to report it.
I mean, who wouldn't report a firearm being stolen?
Right.
All right, now wait a minute. Well, let's see. What if you have some guns stored in like a vacation home and you don't check that home but every like 3 months or something like that, and you don't notice anything's missing. All right.
Right.
So then it's all of a sudden it's missing and you don't know, and you report it, but it turned up already.
Right.
Okay, did you just fail to report that firearm? I mean, there's been cases of family members with older folks, like say your grandfather or whatever is not in the best health or whatever, in mental state. I've had stories told to me that just make my skin crawl because younger family members will take advantage of that person and they will just slowly steal guns out of cases or whatever and leave empty case. God doesn't know what's going on, and they'll take them and pawn them, sell them, whatever the case is. Well, guess what? Is that a stolen firearm at that point?
Yeah. I mean, here's another thing to consider, too, that makes that whole thing messed up. All right, so say that, you know, little granny who's 95 years old and literally she's doing good to get out of bed every day and just live her life like normal, and she may not know, the kind of person that might have dementia or Alzheimer's so bad that she can't remember her grandkids' names, or her wife, listen to me, her wife may not be able to, even remember like a kid's name, or like their grandchildren or their kids or anything like that. So you mean that person, okay, if I'm cleaning out her attic trying to help her find something, and I open up Grandpa's old war chest and there's a Tommy gun in the bottom, a real full auto Tommy gun, and that the whole amnesty registration thing didn't even faze them because they didn't know, or they weren't into firearms or something like that. So you mean to tell me that just over some odd stipulation, a misunderstanding, that somebody should be penalized at that level of severity just over something like that? It says right here that the NRA, the reason they're opposed to it is because it's restricting of a constitutional right simply for the conviction of a misdemeanor offense. So there's only two known examples I can think of. Well, in this case would be one of them. But another example where a misdemeanor can keep you from buying a gun is domestic violence. If there's some bullcrap thing involved with domestic violence and it's just a misdemeanor charge, you can lose your gun rights over a simple case of domestic violence. And that domestic violence can actually encompass a wide variety of different things that really, in the giant scheme of things, are relatively harmless. So I think it's bullcrap to lose your rights over something like a misdemeanor charge. If it's not a felony, then you shouldn't lose your rights over it. And that's where the NRA draws the line there, and that is a bill that was signed.
Yeah, I mean, people make mistakes, but then also, bad things, are put against good people. And, if a jury of peers convicts you, and you may have been innocent, but if they convict you, then that's going to stick.
All right, so you mean to tell me if I'm 18 years old and I'm having an argument with my girlfriend, you know how kids argue. So if I'm 18 years old and have an argument with my girlfriend and the cops get called, guess what? If it's something that even remotely is defined by violence, somebody's going to jail. And guess what? Whoever goes to jail, you're getting written up for some form of domestic violence. And guess what? Your name is going to be put in the NICS system and you'll never be able to buy a gun ever again. And how messed up is that? So just because somebody being a kid, like kids are when they're young, some guy who's 18 got in an argument with his girlfriend, all of a sudden can't own a firearm for the rest of his life. See how messed up that is?
Yeah. At least he vetoed the bill 2607 about the gun violence restraining order. I mean, that crap.
I think he knew that didn't have a leg to stand on. See, the problem with the gun violence restraining order is that it's depriving you of your Fifth Amendment rights. You have a right to fair trial, and you have a right to be fairly judged and a right to due process, okay? That bill would essentially completely strip you of due process. Under the guise of this bill, if they were to get the gun violence restraining order thing, it means that somebody could go, oh, I think that person's going to hurt me. And they could just go and get some obligatory ruling at a court, and all they have to do is convince a judge, and you, under their guise here, you would not have to be present for the proceedings. Hello, dummies. You can't do that. You can't just obligatorily write somebody up on charges and doom them to death and do all this without them even being present to hear why that's even being considered. So if that's the case, why don't we just go ahead and do the same thing with all the rest of the rights? Why is the Second Amendment the only thing that gets treated that way? Why does it have to be about gun ownership? Why can't it be, oh, well, I'm afraid this person might say something I don't like, so I'm going to give him a talking restraining order. Oh, well, you can't say anything bad against that person because this person has a freedom of speech restraining order. I mean, think about how dumb that sounds. It's the same thing, it's just that because it involves guns, it's all this fuzzy feel-good legislation. But I think it got vetoed because he realized that he would be dealing with some civil rights issues.
No doubt,
with that. I mean, so not only are you trying to deprive someone of their firearms ownership rights, but then you're messing with due process. Then you're doing a double whammy.
My biggest thing is just I don't even understand how some of this stuff can get through and get to the governor's desk. I mean, it is just so asinine. All right, so how about the ammunition?
Yep. Well, do you want to talk about what he vetoed first, or you want to talk about the ammo? Because there is one more. There's Senate Bill 894, which basically, I'll keep it real simple. What that would have done is it would have made the theft of a firearm mandatory to report within 48 hours. Okay? That's what
5
it says.
days.
Right.
Report within 5 days, or report the recovery of the firearm within 48 hours.
Okay, I didn't read that part right. Okay, so 5 days to report stolen firearm. But here's the thing. Governor Brown gave part of the reasoning for why he vetoed that is, oh, well, I think most responsible gun owners would report a stolen firearm within a reasonable amount of time, and only irresponsible people would not report a firearm.
Well, guess what?
Well, wait a minute. Well, then, if that's the case, then why are you signing all these other things, which deal essentially in the same thing? You're regulating morality through an inanimate object. You're punishing an inanimate object for people you can't control. It has to do with people. It has nothing to do with the firearm, the features of the firearm, the way the firearm looks. All of that stuff is completely irrelevant. So if that's the case, Governor Brown, then you need to think about what all you sign, because under that logic, you're kind of wrong in some other instances as well.
Yep.
So this ammo bill is crappy. Senate Bill 1235.
Would place unjustified and burdensome restrictions on the purchase of ammunition and would require the Attorney General to keep records of purchases. I'd hate to be that guy. This legislation would further require online ammunition sales to be conducted through a licensed vendor. So if you want to buy ammo online or whatever, I guess you have to
kiss the rings.
I mean, so if it's not a licensed vendor, then you can't buy the ammo. All right, so gun broker, I want to buy this surplus 50 BMG. Oh, wait a minute, 50 BMG. I forgot California can't have that anyways. Sorry,
this crap's
guys.
Getting silly, man.
You know,
anyways,
I mean, oh God Almighty. All right, so. First and foremost, the reporting of ammunition sales has already been tried and failed at the federal level. Throughout the 1980s, Congress considered repeal of a federal ammunition regulation package that required, among other things, reporting of ammunition sales. I mean, come on, guys.
This also goes back to the fact that criminals are going to buy ammo wherever they want, and it's not going to matter. So you mean to tell me that okay, if you want to take that by the complete letter of the law, and you want this law to literally affect someone in the most literal sense, we're talking, there are no criminals, Chad. Only law-abiding people. So if there were only law-abiding people and criminals did not exist, in a perfect society, in a utopian society that you control like George Orwell, well, his story, that would be the case. Sure, that would probably make sense. But, okay, so if I get in my car, all right, and I drive to, all right, and I own a big truck too. So if I get in my big old truck that can carry thousands of pounds, all right, and I drive 5 or 6 states over or wherever, and I go to whatever Joe Blow's Gun and Tackle, and I buy 10,000 rounds of ammunition and put it in the back of my truck and go home and not tell anybody, what happens then? Oh, but wait, people don't break the law. So it's just crap like that. It's so pointless. All it does is affect someone who's a law-abiding citizen. But the problem is there's laws that people write and they get signed in, and then there's laws that nobody should obey. And that's a law that, I'm sorry, if I was in that situation, I'm pretty sure I can speak for most people, that's bull crap, and it only affects dummies.
So what, are you going to go to the range or something like that, and there's going to be somebody out there monitoring your ammunition registry? So, like, excuse me, sir.
What about hand loading?
Excuse me, sir, is that registered ammunition?
Yeah.
Can I see your papers?
Yeah. I mean, what if I have a 6-cavity gang mold from Lee Precision and 10,000 pounds of lead, and I just make all my own dang ammo?
Oh no, you can't have that.
Well, what the heck? What about reloaded ammo? I mean, okay, so if I call up Berries and I order 20,000 plated Berries bullets, and get in there on my Dillon 1050 in my basement and crank out 20,000 rounds, what the heck are they going to know? It's bull crap.
So only bought ammunition is dangerous.
Right. Okay, so whatever. Don't give them any dang ideas. All right, so Senate Bill 1446 was signed also. And this is the one that really pisses me off.
You damn right.
It says it would simply ban possession of ammunition feeding devices that are capable of holding more than 10 cartridges. Let's see. I read somewhere that said that they're going to make everybody turn them in, but I'd like to see how well that's going to work. So yeah, turn in a piece of plastic with a spring in it.
Let's see. I think that was on the.
Yeah.
You need to get better internet. That was on the ABC site, but now I can't see it. But yeah, it basically said that, hey, if you've got these devices and this law's going into effect, if you've got them, you got to give them up.
Maybe somebody can shed a little light on that if you can clarify that for us, because it doesn't necessarily say so on the NRA's website. It's a bunch of bullcrap, guys. The bottom line, I mean, we could preach this all day long, but I think that kind of lays out the structure of what's going on in California.
Well, I will say something too. A lot of people don't really. They just say like screw California. They just need to break off and float off into the Pacific, and we'll be better without them. Okay, well that's not the case. California is a very diverse array of people, cultures, climates.
Pro-gun people live there.
A lot of pro-gun people live there, and people who love America. Okay, so if you discount California, well, California is kind of a test bay, if you will.
Yeah.
For the rest of the country. So what you see in California could come to your doorstep.
You can't send them down the river just because you think, oh, it'll never happen here, or it'll never happen to me. I mean, we're in Georgia. If I want to right now, I can go to a gun store and buy 100 guns, and nobody's going to bat a single freaking eye because it ain't a big deal. It's completely normal. Get that. People just need to get that out of their minds. The quantity of guns that a person buys is irrelevant. The type of guns they buy is irrelevant. The amount of ammunition they have is irrelevant. It just doesn't make sense to regulate that type of stuff. All you're doing is stripping the average person of their rights. And it's so dumb. It's just beyond it. The anti-gun mentality is evil. It is an evil mentality. It's a mentality of ignorance or evil. Either they're ignorant and they're too dumb to understand what's going on, and they just think, oh, we'll do it just to do it, and not really concern ourselves with what... It's like the way corporate policies are drafted at some of these big companies. It looks good on paper, and it makes sense, and they look at numbers on a chart, and they go, ooh, well, if we do it this way, we can do this and do this, without understanding the ramifications of their actions and what real people have to do in their everyday lives, and without even factoring in what the people want. So the thing is, if the people are the ones affected, and the people are the ones that have to live with this crap, then it should be the people that decide what exactly goes on. You can't just arbitrarily make some decision based on emotion and the lack of logic and the lack of understanding that affects so many people in a negative way unless you truly are just evil. It's either ignorance or evil. That's the only two axioms of the anti-gun mentality. You're either one of those two things.
Yep. I don't have anything to say. It's outrageous. I mean, it's just a pure trampling of Second Amendment rights, and I mean, what better time for it to come than a few
Today
days prior
is July 1st.
and right before Independence Day.
It is the Friday before Independence Day. Wake up, people. Wake up and see what the heck is going on here. It's a blatant slap in the face. They're treating Californians like they're little redheaded stepchildren, and they walk up to the table and go, can I do this? No! Wham! Slap them and go, no, sit back in the corner. You're going to do what we say. But it's Independence Day. Wham! That don't matter. Screw you. You're a little peon. Go back in the corner, you little redheaded stepchild.
Wake up,
you don't matter.
Wake up, Dr. Freeman, and smell the ashes.
It sucks, man.
Oh my God.
We really hate to hear it. And the thing is, we make these videos. We know that some people might get upset about what we say, or some people might have a problem with it. Maybe people don't agree. That's okay. We all have a right to kind of say what's on our minds and say how we think. And things like YouTube are awesome because it allows these things to get out there to the masses that follow us and that actually care about what we have to say. So some of you guys treat these videos like a podcast, and you're going down the road in your truck, and I imagine there's people in the truck going, yeah, you're right, yeah. Well, that's good. We have to support California. California might be a lost cause at this point, but you can't just demonize and damn California just yet. You've got to treat them like they have a fighting chance, and we've got to do what we can to put these kind of things out there to let these people know we don't agree with what they're doing. Just because I might as well live on Mars compared to California, but just because I live in Georgia doesn't mean I don't care what's going on in California.
I mean, we care about all gun owners. You know, I mean that's the bottom line. But the more and more people that get out of California, you're leaving people behind, and you know the big cities control. You know the elections. I mean, I hate to say it, but the folks who live in Northern California should create their own state. There should be a 51st state. You know, Northern California.
You know,
I mean,
I can't necessarily say it wouldn't be a bad idea.
You know, because
just cut the dang state in half and let all the free folk live up north like Game of Thrones. Seriously. Y'all can be the free folk. Y'all can be the wildlings. North of the wall, build a big old wall and put a tower on it. It'll be like Game of Thrones.
a big tower.
A big one, yeah. I mean, all right. Or look, here's another idea. Here's another idea I've got. Take the state,
that's scary.
or take the U.S., all right, put all the anti-gun people in the middle, let them have their own little area that they can run how they want and do what they want, okay, and let all the gun owners live in all the border states, okay? We get the ocean, we get the nice scenery, we get the pretty landscape, we get to watch the borders, and we can defend the country. And when the crap hits the fan, you know, we'll just see how all that works out. So why don't we do that?
Maybe we should do that opposite.
Let's do that. What? Us being the, oh, you mean let them, like, take on the brunt of the human wave of, like, yeah. I'm kidding about all that. But still, it's a cluster of complete crap, and I don't agree with any of it. And, you know, there's really a loss for words. I have no idea. It's so unfathomable that they would do this kind of thing and that it actually is being taken seriously. It just blows my mind that these people actually think that they're doing some good.
Well, they are.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That is what's so screwed up about it, that they actually think they're doing something right.
I love Kevin DeLeon again.
Oh, Mr. Ghost Gun?
Mr. Ghost Gun.
Oh, what an idiot.
Oh, my God. This is good. This is
yeah,
really
whatever.
Good.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching today's video. I hate to bear grim news. Nobody likes the guy that delivers bad news to your door, okay? And I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that gets to talk about positive things, go out and review guns and do fun stuff. I don't want to have to make these freaking videos. I don't like making them. But we have to, because people need to be informed, people need to know what's going on, and they need to get pissed about it.
Well, see, I already had another gun gripe ready to go. Now I'm going to have to re-edit it and change the title because I have to do this one, so...
That's right.
Jerry Brown's just causing more grief for me, too.
He is. We would appreciate it if they would stop their shenanigans and we can move on with life like
as
regular
planned.
people. That would be great. All right, well, guys, thanks for watching today's video. Hopefully you got a laugh out of some of this stuff, but I'll tell you what's going on here is definitely no laughing matter. Sometimes it's easy to kind of look at it from a lighthearted perspective, but hey, what's going on definitely sucks. And I feel for the guys out in California, you know, just try to keep fighting the good fight as best you can. We know there are many pro-gun Republicans in California that did vote these measures down at that level, but of course they're just outnumbered. So we know that there's some of you there that are trying to fight the fight, and we respect that. And we hope you guys will be able to sort this stuff out. You know, always write all your representatives, express concern. Guys, don't give in, because if you give in, they're just going to take your rights away. And they're already trying to do it. They're already trying to arbitrarily take them away in a lot of these measures that were proposed without due process. They've already shown that they are perfectly willing to strip you of due process to take your rights. Don't let them have it or they will get it. So thanks for watching today's video. We appreciate the support. We'll catch you next time.